Hey guys, so for my daily art challenge, I've been doing selfies in Photoshop for the last couple of days. Here's one that I printed out. I'll do a little slideshow reel of these. Anyway, I'm going to show you how I do this in Photoshop. It's a tracing technique. You could, I'm doing this color background business and this dotted shadow business. I'll show you how that happens. But you could also just print out the line art. If you're doing a photo of yourself, your family, your dog, what have you, you could just do the line art and print it on white paper and color it in. So it's totally suitable for coloring book, or put the color in Photoshop. So anyway, I'll do a little bit of tutorial on it, not a whole lot, but a little bit, so you kind of get the gist, and then we'll speed draw it on out. So real quick little video. I hope you like it. If you like Photoshop stuff, please hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you're here more to see mosaic stuff, I do have a wide variety on this channel. Next week I might do some more of these, but use dogs, because I need to get back to the dog and cat stuff that I do. So I do a wide variety. Let me know what you're interested in and we'll show you more of that. And hit the like button if you like it. Okay, thanks. So the first step is to create a duplicate layer of your photograph. I just like to have an undisturbed layer underneath, so I'll turn that layer off. And now I'm going to use my lasso tool and select big chunks of the background and delete. Just carving away at that background with the lasso tool. There's several ways to make your selection do whatever you feel comfortable. You don't absolutely have to carve it away to start drawing for coloring book pages, but I'm going to use this layer later for something else, and so I am going to kind of carve away. Once I get most of the chunks deleted by using the lasso tool, I go ahead and select my eraser tool and erase in close to the edges, refining that selection pretty good. And again, it's not going to be perfect, because what I'm going to end up doing to this layer, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. It just needs to be basically a clean silhouette. So here we go. Okay, so here we have a pretty clean version. Now I'm going to create a blank layer. I'm going to fill it with white, and then I'm going to take the opacity of that layer down to maybe 64%, something like that. And now I'm making another layer, and this will be the drawing layer. The very top layer is the layer we're going to do our sketching on. I pick a brush, and I use a pretty tiny brush. I use 1 pixel. For some of the other areas, this is actually a couple pixels here, but in a minute I'm gonna take that down a little smaller. There, now we have a finer line, and I like the fine line. When I get to the close and maybe some other areas that I want to add emphasis, I'll make the brush a little bigger. And I'm just going along the lines, tracing basically along the image. I'm doing little wrinkles in my forehead. And you make selections throughout the whole process. Sometimes I'll put in my crow's feet. Sometimes I won't put in my crow's feet. If you have a freckle you don't like, you don't have to draw it. So yeah, I mean, you make selections all along the way, and and you can see here I'm kind of fast and loose with the line work, so I'm not exactly worried about following every little contour and every little line that's present in the photo. I'm using the underlying image as a guide. Like the ear, I'm pretty much following those lines exactly, but with the hair, I wanted to get looser and fun. The eyeglasses, I'll be pretty spot on. And throughout the whole process, you're deciding what to leave in and what not to leave in. So that's pretty much the drawing technique. I'm going to go ahead now and speed this up, and I will show you at the end what I've been doing with the backgrounds. Okay, so now we're going to choose that original cleaned up layer, and we're going to choose color halftone. Those dots are a little big, so I'm going to enter a higher number and get a smaller dot, so that it's, yeah, that's better. Now I'm going to take that white layer that was our tracing paper before that we had set to low opacity, and I'm going to throw in a color. I think I'm going to choose pink. I'm going to fill it with pink and see what happens. Okay, so it's pale because we had the opacity set low, so I'm just going to drag that opacity all the way up. Now you can see what we've got. So there's some weird white up above where I didn't clean well, so I'm just going to go in and erase that. Now I'm going to tell this layer to be a screen layer. I'm going to use the screen effect. And the next step is to put some color on my brush, and I'm going to turn off the pink, and I'm going to create a new layer and put it under the drawing. And I'm going to play around with color, see what I want, and then load my brush with it. I'm going to do some kind of green, I think. And I'm going to choose a pretty big fat brush because I want to fill this in pretty quickly. Yeah. So it's going on top because I didn't drag it below like I said I was going to. So I need to drag that down below the drawing layer. Now it's working. Okay. So big fat brush, fill it in. If I go over the edges, I can refine it with the eraser in a minute because I just want to fill this in really quickly. And so this is going to stand out on that pink rather nicely, I think. And so basically I am coloring in Photoshop, but all one big color. And again, now I'm going to go ahead and refine those edges a little bit where I've gotten messy. And sometimes if it goes over the edge just a little bit in certain areas, it can be kind of fun looking depending on what you're doing, kind of giving it sort of an offset look. I don't know, it can be kind of a fun effect. So erasing that, looks like you're going to add in some pink, some green right there. And now I'm going to move that out, select just those two layers together, and by clicking on them and holding down on the shift key, I can move them at the same time. There we go. Now I'm going to inch them over away from the dotted pattern silhouette. And what I want to do is get it to where the drawing stands out enough, and I may take the opacity down a little bit on that screen layer. I may make it bigger. I'm going to like enlarge it a little bit and move it. And I'll end up playing with it. I'll end up sliding that opacity slider down so that the dots become fainter. And I'm also going to make a duplicate layer of the drawing and see how that looks, because that'll make the drawing lines darker. If I do a duplicate layer on top, somehow it makes it darker. And I've created a layer at the very top to add in, I'm drinking iced coffee in this, so I'm going to add in a layer at the very top. And I've chosen some brown to paint in the coffee. It's pretty pale, so in a minute I may try to go in and tell it to be a multiply instead of a color layer. Right now I have it selected to be a color layer in the effects, but if I hit multiply, it'll darken that up. Probably too much. Let's see what happens. Here we go, multiply. Yeah, it's too dark, but it also shows me where I've missed the painting. So I'm going to use it dark like this just so I can fill in the whole glass and not miss a drop. Because you don't want to waste coffee, right? You need every single drop to get going in life. Boy, I drink way too much iced coffee. I don't know about you guys. So yeah, and then once I get it all colored in nice, now I'm going to drop that opacity and make it a different shade. So that's what I've been doing to create these funky backgrounds, these dotted backgrounds and color combos. So there, thanks for watching, and again, hit subscribe if you like Photoshop, and I'll show you more next week.